I'm Morgan Hines. I'm in the PhocusWire studio at Phocuswright Europe, and I'm here with Inigo Valenzuela of Smartvel and Mark McLaughlin of Coras. Welcome. We're so excited to have you. We're going to talk about selling additional offerings to complement travel products. So I'm really excited to get into this. You both work with a lot of really major companies, but I'm sure there must have been some companies that you've pitched that have said no. So where is the hesitation to sell additional products past initial offerings?
I think the tech is a big thing.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to do, in-path sales or check and flow sales and stuff like that. So, that's usually where the conversation, because commercially it can be quite appealing, but that conversation can kind of stop where they're like, well, actually our roadmap is full for the next 18 months. But actually one of the things we've been working on is like a web components version of our product to try and get the integration down to like a day instead of weeks to try and at least overcome that. Yeah. But it's kind of, you're selling both to the marketing side, but then you also sell to the tech side.
Yeah.
And so if you don't get buy-in from both, then it's tricky, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Well, thank you for having me. I think that selling is tough. Selling is tough because it's B2B sales. It's a long sales cycle, a lot of decision makers. It has to be in the right moment, in the right time, with the right people, with the right budget, many rights at the same time. So
there's a lot of factors here. Yeah.
So it's almost a miracle, but it finally happens. No? So so sometimes all of us are looking for the perfect product market fit. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. No, but I would say that the most difficult thing for us is to get on the table with the right people in the right moment. This is the most difficult.
It's funny though, like talking about timing. I think 2 ITBs ago, like we've been saying that we really focus on events like music and sport and theater, and we were saying events are a big driver of travel. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then Taylor Swift went on tour.
Of course, yeah.
And then every travel company has just been like, event tickets, how do we do this?
Lady Gaga.
We literally had I'm not going to say the client, we had a client who signed, and then they did nothing. And then they were like, years later, and they're like, actually, we did this deal with this company, but we never actually went live with it.
Yeah.
And then they subsequently followed through. Like it was that's how big an impact it had.
Oh, wow. So it took that many years to have that kind of push.
COVID interrupted it as well, in fairness, but it was just literally the people, and like the evidence was there. I think you saw on the panel earlier when they're talking about, they were saying it's not as if events are suddenly a new driver of travel.
Yeah.
They've always been a driver of travel. But then people, they could see in the data very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like literally I joked, Taylor Swift has done all my business development the last few years because it's done much more than I could ever do myself.
So thank you, Taylor Swift.
Thank you, Taylor Swift, for many things, but thank you for the music. And so, yeah.
So it seems like there's a lot of room for opportunity, and obviously there's a lot of moving factors, but how are you convincing partners to get on board with this if there is that hesitation there?
Well, for us now, it's been kind of like trying to understand the proposition. Within tourism activities, it's very dominated by OTAs, and they tend to focus more on the activity side. And sometimes if they all have a B2B partnership, it's usually just a really badly branded white label site. And then the partner then has a bad experience with it, going, this product didn't really work for us, as opposed to going to go, listen, we're pure B2B. We have an API. You can integrate it really easily. We have not just the tours and activities, but we have events that people really want to go to.
Yeah.
So it's just really about, you're talking about getting from the right person, but also just, it's funny, sometimes you just say something, like at a conference like this, and something just clicks with somebody and you realize, oh, that's the point that will resonate. And something like for us, it was...
so it's a case by case?
Well, no, it was actually, one of the things we didn't cop on to was that we do all our contracting as well. So you don't have to do any contracts with all we work with Barcelona Football Club or all the West End theatre providers. So it's a single contract and a single API, where I think there was a perception that they would do us for the tech and then have to do all the individual contracting. And they thought that, well, we can't do that. It's going to take years.
Too much work, yeah.
Yeah. So we have maybe focused almost too much on the tech and not so much on all the commercial relationships we kind of built and stuff as well.
So what about you? How are you convincing people?
The point is that we solve different pains. No? So really we have 3 lines of product. No? One line of product is what we call traveler support. Has nothing to do with music, but it's about getting the right requirements to travel for airlines, cruises, OTAs, etc. Health, docs, and visas. So this is a very specific need with a very specific pain that we solve, and it's totally different. You have to find the right person in that group of customers. The other line of product that we have is destination content that crosses with what
Yeah.
we do, because we also provide events and points of interest and everything around that, no? And for us, the biggest challenge in once that you got the right person on the table, no, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is that they have to have a pain in what you do, no,
Yeah.
and it has to be relevant enough, no. So we are very focused today in what is providing marketing tools to help them to sell more.
Okay.
This is what we do, and we use content as a leverage to support them in selling their destinations or their offering or whatever, no.
Yeah. So thinking about trends in the industry related to this, Airbnb obviously recently launched its services vertical. It's received a lot of attention for doing that. And it seems to be tied to a push for additional app usage, which is something that Brian Chesky, the CEO, mentioned on an earnings call a while back. But is that something that you're hearing other travel brands have interest in, to to further app usage and kind of interaction with the brand, with extras?
I think the key thing is that, you know, I don't know what the stats are, but, you know, the average customer in Europe might get on 1 to 2 flights a year.
Yeah.
So if you're like at like an airline,
Yeah.
that's not a huge amount of interaction with the customer for 50
Right.
other weeks a year
Yeah.
or whatever. So I think it's more giving customers a reason to come to you. Because, like, for example, we see good domestic sales of products, people aren't traveling or buying tickets like through our partners. But that's a really good signal. You can say, oh, this customer's interested in this, and it
Yeah.
gets them back to the website. And then when they're there, say, oh, by the way, what are you doing next week? And I think one of the problems is that if you go to someone and say, we got 50% off hotels, and you do that once a month, the return on that
Feels
is
repetitive. You're not going to maybe recognize it as a customer.
yeah, but like for us, like with events, like literally every day new events go on sale. So you can go, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this, you've got this constant kind of engagement. And I think not just talking your own book and our own product category, but like, I think it's stuff like that to get customers back to the platform. And then you might be able to, and the classic case would be like, if you know that, let's say the customer's in London and they booked a ticket for Barcelona Football Club, like, well, how are you getting there? Where are you staying? How are you transferring? You know, so it's kind of trying to start the purchase flow with the non-core product, I think is the kind of.
Okay.
It's a very good point. I think you hit the nail. I mean, there is the cost of acquisition has been increasing in the last 10 years, 8% every year. This is for customers for vendors that really have customers that do not buy them so often. This is unbearable. I mean, they cannot manage. So one good way is to provide them with content and things to do at their local place, for example.
Yeah.
And you can provide this. It's a good point, no? So it's a good way to reduce the cost of acquisition if your solution provides something more than just for travel, no?
Yeah, I think also like there's been such a focus on customer acquisition and not a huge focus on customer retention. And I know, you know, we might talk about it in a sec, but like there's a lot of brands that would like to have like loyalty as a product category is to me, it seems like it's like a $500 billion industry that CSV files as its main tech, you know, like, so the idea is like not just spending, as you said, the cost of acquisition on the customer, but then, you know, giving them reasons to kind of come back and engage either kind of repeatedly. And that seems to be but there's also a technical barrier to entry. There's lots of travel brands that don't have loyalty programs,
Right.
because they can't afford the CapEx and the OpEx to like run them. And, you know, they need like a tech solution, you know, to sort of facilitate that. So we think, you know, which obviously, again, we'll come on to it, but like, that's what we think is the big opportunity. It's the combination of the ancillary and the loyalty together.
So if by offering these kind of answers or extras, you're having users return to the app, are you maybe building a form of loyalty that is based on accessibility?
Or value, I would say.
Value?
To me, it's more like APIs make products ubiquitous, right?
Yeah.
So if you're coming to Barcelona here, you can get the same hotel room on hundreds of different websites.
Right.
So why do you go to one versus the other?
Right.
So people make these like loyalty decisions, like even without even like thinking about it, like sort of every day. But then if you're like, say, a small hotel group, let's say you got like 20 hotels or something, you can't afford to run a loyalty program. So it's very hard to get customers.
So it's value add, like what
value.
you said, yeah.
And people have to figure out how to make it happen, how to make customers get back to their website. And if you don't travel so often, it's not easy, no?
Yeah.
Now we have a lot of challenges. it's a world full of challenges, threats, and opportunities. So we have the new SEO, the GEO. How this is going to happen? Everybody's thinking that has some clues, no? But it's really exciting.
So how much of a race to the bottom does it become, though, if every travel company expands to sell more? If everyone's selling everything, how do you differentiate?
Well, we think that's loyalty and being able to compete. So like, if you have, let's say if you're Avios at the moment, right? You can sell, you can earn points on 200 or 300 different partnerships, but you can redeem on 4, which is like flights, hotels, car hire, and wine.
Okay.
Like, that's not a good customer proposition,
Right.
And also, unfortunately, I'm very far from Gen Z, but like Gen Z thinks loyalty is stupid. Like they go, why have I restrictions? Why can I only buy here with these things? The stats are, I think you guys did research on this, but like, in America, the average customer joins 16 loyalty programs and they use 1. And even within that, the percentage of unused points is somewhere between 20 to 50%. So like people are joining loyalty programs and then they're going, this is rubbish, I'm not using them. Yeah. So it's because if you're a small brand, you can say, well, listen, if you buy from us, you'll get 6 points per euro as opposed to 1 point per euro if you buy it from an OTA or something.
Right.
So it's trying to, I think, competing on retention and kind of, it's like the whole influencer like network that grew out of basically trying to reward early adopters, in terms of, but there's no like technical product to do that yet at the moment. Yeah.
I think here the point is that my view, is the number of interactions that a big brand or any brand has with the customers is very limited.
Yeah.
So they cannot spam you with a lot of things because at the end it's okay, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So if you take a look at airlines, for example, I mean, when they interact with you, they want to upsell and cross-sell their own products. This is their priority.
Right.
Sometimes they do with other things, but most of the times is upgrade your seat, this new destination, etc. Yeah. And it makes sense. They're not going to promote other things. This is what I think. Another thing is that they can provide those services if you are interested. And as they have millions of passengers, that makes sense because the cost of acquisition is very low. But I think that because the question was very good, if everybody sells everything, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I think that brands are going to focus on what they do. Is their operation and their core service, and their extras will be there because at the end it will be everything is available and the API-fying of the economy makes that everything is possible, no?
Yeah.
But the core business is the core business.
Got it.
Yeah. But there's also restrictions though within the tech stacks of the brands trying to do multiple APIs and stuff at the moment, where trying to have a lot of brands will. Like big brands will have oh, you can buy this product from us, but you can't buy with other products. It's it's a one product upsell in the basket.
So like tech silos kind of?
It's just more the fact that they can't do multiple APIs with multiple payments in the same transaction.
Okay.
And so you could have a situation where you want to get, say, your transfer and your tour, and you have to make 2 separate purchases, which is crap, right, for the consumer.
Yeah.
So there's still a tech barrier there because a lot of these platforms are legacy platforms, right? So.
And where does M&A play into expanding sales opportunities? Inigo, I know that Smartvel has had a few recent acquisitions if you want to start.
Yes, we bought 2 companies in the last 2 years. We bought Arrival Guides, a Swedish company that was our main competitor, and it was a great company, and we were very happy with the operation. And last year we bought Abuxi, a UK company focused on maps, heat maps for OTAs. No? So I think that from a founder point of view, when you are trying to develop a big company and adding more value to your customers, you have to look for these opportunities if they make sense strategically and financially, both things. No, strategically because there has to be synergies in what you do operationally speaking.
Right.
With Arrival Guides, it was totally clear they were doing the same thing around destination content that we did. So it was we increase our capacities, we decrease our cost. It was perfect. And financially speaking, there were a lot of synergies because the founders wanted to leave the company. It was perfect for us because we don't need more founders here because I'm still here. No, so it was a very good opportunity for us. No, I think it's a very good opportunity to grow your scope faster and accelerate. And we want to do more.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And a few years ago, Mark, Coras launched its token and received funding to build out FIDA to facilitate tokenized commerce. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah. So we kind of launched a very early version of it, and what's kind of we thought the opportunity was to be sort of a B2B solution to enable brands to run a loyalty program using blockchain as opposed to using CSV files, for example. But what we kind of realized was that, there's no like Airbnb or Uber for loyalty. That brand doesn't exist. So we actually think the opportunity is to kind of be like a Web3 loyalty search engine, like have a single place where you can say, so you can earn and burn your tokens on whatever products, and not just travel, but like e-commerce, retail, and stuff like that as well. So we've, as I said, we raised a bit of money last year, and we've been building this web components product, and then FIDA will launch next in Q3, which we're really excited about, because again, we just think that it's the mix between loyalty and ancillary, which we think is the secret sauce. We hope anyway, but that's the idea. So
awesome. And when I think about all this, I'm curious: is AI an opportunity or a threat to what you guys do?
Both things on our side. I mean, it's the biggest opportunity and the biggest threat and the biggest challenge to make it right. I think that the big challenge for all of us, not only for mid-sized company like us, not because we are not we cannot compare with the big players, no, but is if you are going to compete with the platforms like Perplexity, ChatGPT, this is going to be extremely difficult. I think here's a niche game. You have to look for your own space where you can add value, differentiate, and make it happen. It's a great opportunity, and at the same time, the things that you've been doing in the last 10 years, perhaps there will be an Indian company with 10 persons that will accelerate and will get to where you are in 1 year. Yeah. So we have to move faster. So this is the way. No? It's a challenge, a threat, and an opportunity all together.
Yeah, complex.
To me, I think AI will probably be quite commoditized in future. Like you're already seeing it now between, does Claude perform better than ChatGPT, better than Perplexity, like on different things. It's still quite limited. There's some things it does really, really well, and some things you're going like, why can't you like analyze a spreadsheet? You can't, like I was doing use it to analyze our like backlog of tasks and go, which tasks were created more than X number of years ago, and then list them, and then I could close them like to an integration. So for tools like that would have taken me a couple of days to do. So it's I think it's making it creates efficiencies in some place, but like I think like is there going to be a huge difference between these different offerings? Are they just glorified search engines? In terms of they can actually do tasks for you and stuff like that as well. I think it's still very early to make a call one way or another, but I think like all these things, the best thing to do is just keep using them, try and incorporate them into your daily, tasks and see if they're useful. Because, like one thing we tried to do was, I was like, I wonder, could I get one of the AI agents to build a website using our API? Yeah. So I tried, and there was, it was actually the only one that could do it properly was Manus. ChatGPT was terrible. Claude wasn't very good. Perplexity didn't really work. But Manus actually built something like a decent, not a consumer-facing website, but like you would show in production. So that to me is the interesting thing, because like for us, if you can get people to adopt your technology quicker, which for us is a barrier to adoption, as we talked about earlier, that would be cool. So you can say, here's the API, here's the agent to build it. What's your excuse to get on with it, kind of thing. So.
Don't you think that, for example, there's one word that is called to be Sherlock by someone. No? Is when I think it was when Apple some years ago gave for free something that was a business model for many companies. No, and so when the big players give for free what you do. Yeah. You get Sherlock, so that means that you are. That is very difficult. So now, for example, imagine that when Gen AI started, you were okay. The opportunity is solving the hallucination. I'm going to invest whatever in solving that. It doesn't matter how much money you put there. You're not going to compete with them. They will solve it much faster and much in a much better way that you do it. So you have to play niches. You have to play where you can play. You cannot play that battle, because in that battle you're going to lose. And what is difficult is, that niche is going to be a mainstream in the future. If it's very, very big, they're going to solve it.
But I think though, like a lot of things still come down to relationships. like even if we've integrated with an API, we still need to get a client-supplier
Right.
agreement.
Yeah.
And like AI maybe might be able to help me read a tech document quicker or something, but I still need to build a relationship with that person or go to conferences like this, shake people's hand, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
The
there's
human interaction
the
still
human
matters.
interaction is still there. It will just help, I think, accelerate some of the tech side. But again, like it's still very early days.
It sounds.
And big brands are very worried today if Gen AI is going to reduce the value of the brands because you are
Yeah.
going to talk directly with Perplexity instead of going to the brand. So there's a challenge for not only for mid or small players, for all of us.
Yeah. Seems like there's a lot that remains to be seen. Well, thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much, Morgan.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Cheers. Thank you.